To be honest, I didn't think I'd be breaking down a State of the Union, but I got entirely too many requests from you guys to do it, so we're gonna do it.
Mr. Speaker, the President of the United States.
Now, before we start, I will acknowledge, yes, Donald Trump can actually read. He can read a teleprompter, we've seen it before, but his track record still shows the ugly truth. His calls for unity are nothing more than insincere pandering. Lest we forget, this is still the same old Trump who's done everything under the sun to divide us, from apologizing to Nazis to electing Ghostbuster judges, so everyone rushing to praise him right now for his abilities to read a prompter can suck one. And this same duality was President Trump's masturbatory taking credit for the economy segment of his speech. Trump loves taking credit for things he had no hand in almost as much as I love shamelessly promoting my Instagram and my thirst traps. You should follow me on Instagram for my thirst traps at Hassan D. Piker. Moving on!
Since the election, we have created 2.4 million new jobs.
A lower rate than last year around this time, which is normal though, since we're nearing full employment.
Unemployment claims have hit a 45-year low.
Which has been steadily going down since, you know, Obama.
The stock market has smashed one record after another.
True, but this is not even remotely impactful in a positive way for the majority of Americans. Just think of Amazon, after all. After creating Amazon Go, a disruptive grocery store that eliminates jobs, Jeff Bezos' personal wealth grew by almost $3 billion in 24 hours. And that's what it means when the stock market is doing well. That's a perfect analogy. It's not doing well for you, it's doing well for the Bezoses of the world.
We enacted the biggest tax cuts and reforms in American history.
Another thing that will further lead to inequality, but I'm gonna let my man Bernie take over for that one.
Since March of last year, the 3 richest people in America saw their wealth increase by more than $68 billion. Meanwhile, the average worker saw an increase of 4 cents an hour.
That disparity seems fair to me. Seems fair to Trump. But this was probably the best part of his economy speech.
African American unemployment stands at the lowest rate ever recorded.
It's the, I'm not racist. Guys, how can I be racist when the rate of unemployment under my rule is kept steadily dropping, even though this has absolutely nothing to do with me? By this logic, is Trump allowed to say the N-word if black unemployment hits the same rate as white unemployment finally? And the answer to that is no, motherfucker. 1, you're taking credit for Obama's work, and 2, the unemployment rate is not indicative of a healthy economy anymore, because the real problem is wage exploitation. It's companies not distributing their gains in an equitable way. Also, the fact that there are any disparities between the black unemployment and other races is still illustrative of a systemic problem. And for these pundits to turn around and get mad at the Black Caucus for not applauding Trump, the Black Caucus doesn't owe you anything, bitch. Whew. Which leads us to our 2 other key issues: national security and immigration. Now, even though Donald didn't tackle any substantive policies, he did a really good job of starting the conversation by pimping out racially ambiguous victims of MS-13, all in order to push for his inevitable racist-ass legislation.
For decades, open borders have allowed drugs and gangs to pour into our most vulnerable communities.
For all his talk about how terrifying illegal immigrants are, Trump always seems to neglect the more pressing matter that has genuinely threatened middle America and America in general. I'm talking about white nationalists and Nazis, which have accounted for 75% of domestic terror in the US since 9/11. But you won't see Heather Heyer's family up on that podium, even though Heather Heyer was an American as well, because the Nazis who voted for Trump are the ones who murdered her. And what's truly disgusting about this whole song and dance vilifying all immigrants is that for Trump, people of color are nothing more than a prop, wheeling them out like a circus act. And the most glaring example of this hypocrisy was when he brought out Ji Sung-ho to tell a moving story of a brave man who prevailed through unfortunate circumstances.
Sung-ho was a starving boy. One day he tried to steal coal from a railroad car to barter for a few scraps of food.
Yeah, he left the terrible conditions of his country literally in crutches.
Sung-ho traveled thousands of miles on crutches to freedom. Most of his family followed. His father was caught and was tortured to death.
Oh, so now you're in favor of families of immigrants escaping their shithole countries. Just look at how happy Ji Sung is to be here. The dude is holding up his crutches. Wonder if there's an example similar to that, huh? Oh yeah, that's an illegal immigrant, you moron. That's an identical parallel to the majority of illegals you just spent an entire Frasier monologue worth of time demonizing. You call to end what you call chain migration because your voters in America are terrified of America browning out. Oh, but no, this is different. This is a totally different story, since you're using this story to illustrate the dangers of North Korea in order to fatten our defense budget and increase the already insane amount of nukes we have. But You know, when it comes to illegal immigrants, they are rapists and they'll kill your family. Look, there's a lot more to cover on this, but we're running out of time, so I'm going to leave with these words. If a good speech could save a nation, Winston Churchill would have never needed American interference to win World War II. But speeches can't save a nation. They can bump your approval rating and make you feel all warm and fuzzy inside, but it's actions that will save those in need. So don't let the State of the Union from our professional showman president distract you from his woeful ineptitude or incredibly intolerant immigration policies. But at least we finally got their dirty hands off our beautiful, clean coal. Whatever the fuck that means. So if anything I just said opened your eyes to the realities, please don't forget to share this video with your friends. And also, leave some thoughts in the comment section below. Also, if you like this, please don't forget to follow me on my YouTube, my Instagram at Hassan D. Piker, or on Twitter at Hassan the Hun. And this has been The Breakdown.